All right, guys. So on this episode of the Progressive Civil War, yes, there's a progressive civil war, and that's been going on for a minute, right? Because the left, right, of the Democrat Party, they tend to disagree with each other quite a bit. Okay, and I think disagreement is healthy, right? Like I think that people within the party should be able to, criticize each other. But the Democrats, or the progressives, have been criticizing themselves a lot, right? And I think that some of this criticism is really hindering them, okay? And we have Sarah Silverman, who kind of goes on a little bit of a red pill rant here, right? Like, who knows? She's probably not really red pilling. She's probably just having a moment. Okay, a moment where she really tells some uncomfortable truths about the progressives and politics in general, right? Because she's probably a part of the progressive clique that is salty that nothing is getting done, that they're not winning on anything. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at gforemanbcp. Let's get it. All right, guys, let's take a look at this little rant from Sarah Silverman.
It's the absolutistness of the party I am in that is such a turnoff to me. It's so elitist. For something called progressive, it allows for zero progress. It's all or nothing. No steps toward. All or nothing. Again, righteousness. And I've been thinking about this a lot, just in general. I don't know that I want to be associated with any party. I think I don't want to be associated with any party anymore. It comes with too much baggage. Every party, it comes with so much baggage that no ideas can be taken at face value. And without ideas, what are we? Without a common truth, how can we talk about it? Republicans might hear an idea that they would totally agree with, but if it comes from AOC, then they hate it. And of course, to be honest, when I hear an idea that comes from a Republican, it's suspect to me. We all put too much on this stuff. We no longer are able to be a nation of ideas.
All right, guys. So Sarah Silverman, she's talking about absolutism, right? And how the progressives really, really, really want all or nothing, right? And guys, I've talked about this so much already when it comes to the progressive guys. I've already talked about it. The biggest downfall of the progressive wing of the Democrat Party is the fact that they don't know how to be bipartisan. They don't know how to compromise. They can't even compromise in their own wing, okay? They can't compromise with establishment Democrats, okay? Because on certain issues, right, healthcare, for example, they want Bernie Sanders-style Medicare for all. I'm not sure you guys have ever read that Medicare for all bill, but the Medicare for all bill that they have calls for a single-payer, 100% government-funded healthcare system that does not allow private insurance whatsoever for anything outside of maybe cosmetic procedures, if that is an extreme bill. And if they get anything less than that, they are not satisfied. Now, the thought process is that if you ask for an extreme, then maybe you can meet at the middle. And I'm not necessarily sure how that strategy is working out for them, because it's got to the point where they're so woke, right? Especially on certain social policies. They're so woke. They cannot compromise or even work with Republicans or Democrats if they don't see them on the same level as them morally, right? They're on such a moral high ground that, for example, when Ted Cruz offered to work with AOC on the finance regulations for the GameStop situation. AOC was like, hell no, get out of my face. I don't work with motorists. That's basically what she said. She told Ted Cruz that. And as skilled as a politician that AOC is becoming, because guys, she is becoming a sniper. Okay. AOC has become skilled with PR, being able to play the media. She should not be taken lightly on that. But for as skilled as she's becoming on that and fundraising, she really sucks at the legislation. Okay? She's ineffective at the legislation. And the reason why is because they don't want to be bipartisan. They don't want to work with the other side. For example, the minimum wage thing. I guess Sarah Silverman is probably upset about that, right? She's upset about the minimum wage. The Democrats, if they want it, or the progressives, if they want it, they could get a $10 or $11 an hour minimum wage. Mitt Romney and Tom Cotton, two Republicans, came out and proposed the bill for a $10, $11 minimum wage. If you want it, why don't you work with Mitt Romney and Tom Cotton, or even Josh Hawley? Josh Hawley came out and said that he wanted a $15 an hour minimum wage, but I think it's for publicly traded companies, employees at publicly traded companies. That's something. You're making some progress there. You're getting something. You're raising wages, right? You say it's as life as death, as you guys say, right? Them not wanting to work with the Josh Hawleys or the Mitt Romneys of the world. I mean, they call Josh Hawley a fake populist, right? On the left, they say Josh Hawley's a fake populist, even though Josh Hawley worked with Bernie Sanders on the stimulus checks, the second stimulus checks in December, when there wasn't going to be any stimulus checks in that package. Right? The Democrats and the Republicans was like, nah, we don't need stimulus checks. But Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders, right? Josh Hawley, solid conservative. Bernie Sanders, solid progressive. A lot of people say that he's a socialist. Josh Hawley worked with Bernie Sanders to fight for stimulus checks. That's how you get things done in Washington. You work with people that you don't necessarily agree with on most things, but if you agree with them on a certain issue, you work with them to get it done. That's how it works. But the Democrats don't have that understanding, because again, if they wanted a $10 to $11 an hour minimum wage, I think Joe Manchin, he said he was cool with that. If they wanted that, they could have got it. But no, their standards are so high, it's all or nothing. That's why they ended up with nothing. And that's why they keep losing. So Sarah Silverman is right about that. But, it is funny how, she is salty about them losing and not getting the extreme policies that they want. This is what happens when you are an extremist. When you're an extremist when it comes to policies, when you don't understand where the country is actually at, yeah, you're not going to get anything. Because you can't have it your way. Our government is not designed to do that, guys. That's why we have the filibuster. Okay? That's why we have the House divided up in a way that's representative of the population to a certain extent. And the Senate, there's 2 senators per state, regardless of population. One chamber of the House is supposed to be an advantage to bigger states. Another chamber of the House is supposed to be an advantage to smaller states. It's the majority and the minority checking each other throughout the legislative process. This stuff is not hard, guys. Our government is not designed for extremist policies. And the progressives got to understand that. They got to understand that. She does have a point when it comes to the type of rejection of the other side, right? If somebody says something that I may agree with, but if I don't like the messenger, then I'm not going to agree with them. That definitely happens on the left a lot. Can't work nobody that participated in that Capitol incident. Those people are beyond the pale. Those people are extremists. That's what the Democrats say. But it happens on the right too. Because like I told you guys, Josh Hawley worked with Bernie for stimulus checks. Bernie says he wants stimulus checks, and a lot of people call it socialism. Trump says he wants stimulus checks, and a lot of people say, oh, well, that's Trump cares about America. Trump's giving American people what they deserve. It happens. I'm not saying all Republicans do that. I'm not saying all people on the right do that. But that's why I couldn't be against Biden's stimulus check, because I was for Trump's stimulus check. I've been for stimulus generally. So I can't come out here and be like, oh, no, I don't like Biden's stimulus check because it's Biden's, right? So, I mean, she's making a point about tribalism in politics that definitely is a good point, and it definitely exists, for sure. It's for sure. And it happens on both sides. And I think that that's something that we need to, kind of move away from our politics, which is tribalism. I think that we do need to move towards a place where, the battle of ideas is not about who said the idea, but the idea in and of itself. Not about whether the person has an R or a D by their name. It's about whether or not it's a good idea, whether or not the idea has merits, and debate on that, not, again, who it came from. And I do feel like a lot of people probably do feel the way Sarah Silverman feels. I feel like a lot of normal people feel disconnected from politics for this very reason, for the tribalism. The tribalism has driven people away because there seems to be no solutions that everybody can be happy with. Everybody on both sides thinks the world is ending, right? They're not getting enough of what they want. And it has driven us to a point where, again, I don't blame people who tune out of politics. I don't blame people who don't want to be involved in the political system. I just like the chess match, right? I just like analyzing and talking about the chess match. That's what I like doing. But I do realize that because of the tribalism in our politics, that, a lot of things don't get done and we're not as efficient as we should be. There's a lot more things that should be getting done in Washington that just don't get done because people are tribalistic. It is what it is. I don't think this is a red pill moment, but she does make some good points, and she's probably just salty with the progressives. That's why she's going on this rant. But, that doesn't necessarily mean that her points aren't necessarily true, because they are true, right? They are true. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.